And we have Jasmine and Angela. We are team Lovely Blooms, and this is week 5, and I'm the team leader for this week. So, to just share with you some of the things that I've done this week. Last week, I spent quite some time working on an intro for our video. And so this is it. I'll let it play just really quickly, just the intro part so that you can see, just kind of incorporating the different things that we're learning with design to add to the projects that we're doing. And that was the end of that. And I used iMovie to create that. And then I'll also experiment with Adobe to make something similar a little bit later. And to share some of the artifacts that I created this week, I took my time going through Adobe. I'm working on a few projects. Before that, I'll just share my goals. Well, my goals with this class is to get my Google certifications 1 and 2, not 1 and 1, 1 and 2, and my Adobe badges 1 and 2, just to finish those up. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm also working on another project, and I'm creating a curriculum, a reading curriculum. And so this is the cover so far. I use the AI features within Adobe to create this. It's called Kingdom Readers, and of course by me. And it will have about 28 weeks of reading material for kiddos who are needing assistance with closing their reading learning gaps. And so I just typed in a long description of what I actually wanted the AI to create: kids in a rural area, reading a book together, etc. And it created these. So it was kind of cool. What I did notice was that it will create something, but then if you don't take the pictures that it creates, because it creates a lot, when you go back, it creates something completely different. So that's interesting, and that was good to know. I was thinking about using Midjourney, which is another AI platform, but it's extremely just high-end and super advanced. And so I might have to go with Midjourney to create some of these books in my curriculum, but I thought this was pretty cool and wanted to share it with you. And then I like the different textures and features that the AI can create with like using text to images. So that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to finishing up and then posting some more artifacts for what it is that I'm doing. Jasmine, you can go next.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. So for my Adobe certification, so for the course 1, the level 1, it was, I first did like a little brief overview of what Adobe Express was, kind of to get a feel for it. And honestly, it reminded me of Canva. That was just the first thing that came to mind. I was like, wow, like both of the interfaces are pretty similar. So I started working on the course, and what I did create was goals as a creative teacher. So this was the assignment for this course. So I was just playing with it, and I put this background, I put in some visuals and graphics, I changed the font. It's honestly very similar to Canva. I was able to group all of this so I can keep it and move it together instead of individually. And then I also just wanted to compare it to Photoshop. And so it's the same exact thing or along similar lines, but I just wanted to see how it compared and contrasted to Photoshop. And for Photoshop, I used these images that were generated by the AI. And I will say that the AI in Adobe Express is more advanced than the one here in Photoshop, because whenever I was trying to generate these photos, a lot of them would come out very distorted or just funny looking. So I chose the best pictures that I could here. And I will say that if we're using these for students, I would prefer using the Adobe Express to for the students to use to incorporate creativity into the classroom, just because it's more user friendly and easier to navigate rather than Photoshop, unless the students are in like some type of software class or something like that. Then I would understand for the students to use Photoshop to get their certification in there. So I could see the Adobe Express being used for like marketing, like inside the classroom for subjects, like they can market a subject or a topic. They can use as anchor charts or maybe even a poster, a digital poster. And then for the next one, the next level for level 2, it was to design your creative class. So for this one, I really, really wanted to get a deeper understanding of how they incorporate instructional design into a creative class. So if you haven't already heard of the ADDIE model, there's a lot of ADDIE, and then of course we know the universal design of learning, understanding by design. A lot of that is incorporated into the Adobe Express lessons and just their features. And we have to remember that whenever we're planning for our lessons, it all has to have a correct verb. It has to be something measurable for the students. So, and the list just goes on and on of all the how to apply instructional design into your lessons, just the pedagogy behind it. Because whenever I've talked to instructional designers already, they've said like you have to know the pedagogy and the methods behind everything. So what I did, so the final assignment for this lesson was to create a web page. So I just called it my creative class web page. And it gives you prompts of what to do. So I have my background in here, just a little bit about myself. And here's how have I integrated creativity into my instruction. So I talked about how I like to encourage questioning, and I like to promote real life scenarios in my instruction. And then the top 3 takeaways from this lesson, I put that creativity promotes critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and giving summative feedback, and also fostering diversity and inclusion. And then how will I integrate the Adobe education into the year. So I talked about how I love social media, especially TikTok. So I would really want to incorporate the social media design a social media post to promote a brand, but of course in replace of brand it would be the subject. Like for instance, I talked about how ELAR, if the students are reading a story, I would want them to kind of post that and pretend that they're a character in the story, and pretend like they're posting like oh today I da da da, and pretending that they're the character, just to make it more fun. And then I also put buttons in here, and I linked it to my LinkedIn profile, and then also to my progressive portfolio profile. And that's it for me. Thank you for watching.
Okay, everyone. So I'm going to share my screen to show you some of the artifacts that I was working on with my Adobe badge. Okay, so this is just a simple flyer that I made before I had any prior, you know, went through the modules through the training. It asked to describe some of our future goals, of course, fostering a learning environment that really infuses creativity, the creativity aspect of that. So I put on there, creativity equals curiosity. And I would like to provide my students with additional opportunities for them to be creative in all their assignments. Um, this was, let's see, this was just another in another flyer, I guess that's what it's called, that I worked on, that is describing the ways that I assess creativity. And so I just kind of played around with the you know, the background and the fonts, and I have being open to new ideas, taking risks, encourage peer feedback, allow for student interpretation. Oh, I guess it chopped off the N word there. Um, of assignments, of focus on the process rather than the end result, giving feedback at the time of need, and then also giving frequent feedback and asking what questions like why, how, what, and if. And then the other artifacts that I worked on include, this is just a little flyer that I made for my upcoming project that I'll be working on with the students. So this is just kind of like a flyer to show of the upcoming event that we're going to be having next semester. And then I have this additional one that I remixed. How do I foster creative learning in my classroom? And so I just kind of played around with the images and you know, all the different functions. So it's very interesting. And I did just to kind of uh you know, go back on what Jasmine said, I did notice because I started playing a lot with Canva recently, and I noticed that there was a lot of similarities between um, the Express Adobe and Canva. So I thought that was interesting. And then finally, this was a project that I submitted for my first badge. It says, I will support student creativity by infusing technology into more class activities. So this is an actual image from that I utilized and created with AI. And I thought that was really interesting. I just couldn't wrap my head around it because it looks so real. And then yet when I zoom in on certain aspects, like you can tell that it was AI generated, but I just thought it was so neat. I just, that is just so interesting to me. So this is what I submitted to for my first badge. So I'm excited to get into the content for the second badge and work towards that. So that's what I'm planning on doing this coming week. And I'm going to stop sharing. That's what I worked on. So it's pretty busy.
Great job, ladies. Thank you for watching.